Hello everybody and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Well, I'm a D&D sex icon and we're back today for another episode of Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep. We've got the full cast and crew back with us today to get deeper into this dark and twisted mystery. So let's get around the cast and the crew. Let's remind ourselves of who we are and who we're playing tonight. And let's start with Greg, Grimjack2 on 502. Greg, how's it going tonight?
Oh, it's doing well, buddy. I'm doing well. It is where it's at, 1 to 4 Eastern, here for a little Call of Cthulhu, doing a little masks with the people that I love. I am going to get right into it because I waited a whole week to do this, but I have freshened up on 1920s diplomatic immunity, and we are ready to rock and roll with the government and the international law on our side. Let's do this.
Great stuff. And, of course, we have Lindy back with us tonight. Lindy, how's it going?
It's going great. I can find the unmute button. I am so excited to be back in 1920. Yeah, it feels good to have diplomatic immunity. You know, have absolutely nothing on your record. Be completely innocent all the time. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling, Will. I'm really excited to get back into the shoes of Catherine Jordan, world's most innocent trophy wife, and have a blast.
Fantastic stuff. And, of course, we have Tom, Redundant UK, back with us tonight. Tom, how's it going, my friend?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. Pretty good. I've been counting down the days for where I can get back and get stuck into some Call of Cthulhu. It really is the highlight of my week. I'm pretty confident that the police hasn't got anything to hold Lucian on anyway. He didn't shoot anyone, he didn't attack anyone, and all he did was try and save someone's life. So he's pretty confident that he can get out. Pretty cool. I don't know about the others, but, you know, they could keep shouting diplomatic immunity and hope that works. I hope it does. But yeah, I'll be playing Dr. Lucian Ernest, a doctor who just wants to save lives. That's all he wants to do.
Oh, sure. Of course, we have Pruitt back with us tonight as Koskoff. Pruitt, how's it going, my friend?
It is going, my good sir, fresh off of an immensely amazing con experience at Gamehole Con. I touched all the nerd gods of role playing. So I'm back here to bestow blessings upon the cast and crew, and apparently save them from their own machinations. So I will be playing Koskoff, everyone's favorite Russian gangster. It's been a long time, but it's good to get back into his very, very slimy, gross criminal skin. So I can't wait to see what becomes of this day.
Great stuff. And over there in the corner, we have poor Donovan Fry as Tennessee Gray. Don, how's it going tonight?
Oh, it's great. I'm really excited to play. I love playing Tennessee Gray. Unlike maybe everyone else here, he is very trustworthy and actually says what he means, but he's also homeless and got almost hacked apart with a sword and drinks too much and various other things that have created obstacles for him in his life. I'm excited to play today. I love Wednesdays.
Absolutely. So before we get into today's game, I'll remind you guys in chat of a couple of things. The first of which, we're sponsored today by fancygrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice. Definitely go and check those guys out. There, the demo version is free, and our licenses are very affordable. You can play Call of Cthulhu, D&D, whatever games you want at home, online with your friends. WellingGames.co.uk is the go-to destination for tabletop board games, war games, and more, up to 20% off the retail value. And at the end of tonight's show, Tabletop Loot will be giving away a set of dice for you guys in chat. So stick around to the end and check out their website. In the meantime, here is the tweets for you guys. We are dangerously close to a viewer decision where you guys get to decide something which happens next in our campaign. And do not forget that you can donate to the game as well by giving players that ones, that 20s wild magic surges and worse. And as I do every week, I encourage you to give myself, the keeper, the tools to murder these friends here, because by the looks of them, they've got a whole lot of nat 20s. That's far too many. I mean, Don's got one, and that's, in my opinion, one too many. So be sure to monsters, terrible things, curses, insanity, whatever it is you guys feel like, just to help me out, because these guys have got the assistance of some good doers on their side, and that's That's not what we're about here on a Wednesday at 1 to 4. But I'll remind you guys of what happened last week on the show, the first episode of the new chapter, the America chapter. The party found themselves back in New York after a message from Jackson Elias, their old friend from Peru, brought them here for one reason or another. However, they have been plagued at every step by one Captain Robson, who is looking into a series of murders here in New York. And similarly, he is looking into the disappearances of 2 bodies from a morgue. These 2 bodies happen to be none other than the 2 companions, De Mendoza and Professor Larkin, who the party met in Peru years before. So he's been investigating them along with the assistance of Rebecca Schosenberg, a reporter for the New York Times. There's been a fair amount of threats, double dealings and intrigue regarding what might break out into the news. It turns out that the Jordans are influential with the not only the police but also the news reporters as well, being able to quash stories. As there is also the small matter of Mr. Hemingway, a American diplomat who was gone missing. We, of course, know that Catherine and Marcus murdered him earlier last night, but no one else does. No one else knows that yet. And they haven't yet been found guilty of the numerous crimes they've committed. But at the end of the episode, they went to room 410 at the Chelsea Hotel to meet with Jackson Elias. Opening the door, Jackson Elias was found dead, brutally murdered, with several what looked to be cultists with insignias etched into their foreheads, trying to murder the party as they entered in with swords, guns, and more. The party managed to quite handily dispatch the cultists, but made quite a lot of noise in doing so. The police were called, and Captain Robson appeared on the scene very swiftly and has not yet arrested the party, but has taken them into custody for more questions, aside from Tennessee Gray, who has been grievously wounded by one of the cultists' swords and has been rushed to hospital instead. Now, all of the party are in one form of incarceration or another, except from our good friend Koskoff Romanovich, and that's where we're going to pick up today's story. But first, let me thank you guys. FPS Monkey saying, yay, masks. Also, the Jordan's friend, an occasional troublesome nuisance arrives to help the police discover what's happened to the bodies. He brings all of his investigative powers to bear, regardless of where that might take him. Oh, really? That's an interesting thing, is there? Interesting. Cool. And we get to our last donation here in a second. But I want to jump to Koskoff, because it has been several years since the events in Peru, Koskoff, since the fateful expedition out from Lima to the pyramid where the father of maggots was witnessed having claimed to have killed your sister. And Charlie gives me that monster attack there. I appreciate it, Charlie. Good. But after that time, it seems as though most of the companions split across the globe and went to their respective businesses. So I want you to tell me what you've been up to over the past 2 years and why you're in New York today.
Well, Koskoff, after the events of Peru, developed a bit, one might say, delusions of grandeur. He didn't start believing in God, but he does believe that there is a higher power out there and that it wants him to succeed. It wants him to strive and get full revenge for the death of his sister. He killed the mortals that led to his sister's demise, but he knows that he didn't kill this Lord of Maggots, and he knows that it's probably still out there somewhere. So he returned to Russia, to his hometown of Tula, and consolidated his power and kind of refocused their efforts. Began offering basically protection, racket money. He got in with the local church, not because he believes in God, but he figured or found out that maybe it has some effect on these creatures that go bump in the night, and And I want to say he kind of established a bit of a what you would consider like a neighborhood Cthulhu watch for people if they see anything to let him know. And he discovered like there's something odd about his right fist. He was shaking down some street tough one night and punched him, and then all the glass in within like a mile turned to acid or something, and he like looks at his right fist as, I mean, this is like the nuclear option, so he knows to be wary with it, but he has been granted this power by whatever is out there that is looking out for him, aka chat, and so he has returned to New York because he did receive an invitation, but he did not trust it. So he has been in the shadows. He saw everyone kind of come together, and he was not sure that his former compatriots weren't taken in by the powers that tried to destroy them once before. But after the most recent events, he knows he needs to re-enter the game because his former friends need him once more.
Absolutely. So we'll pick up at in the foyer at the bar of the Chelsea Hotel. You were there to track the companions, even though you wouldn't have trusted going in yourself. But you would have spotted the four of them, and I'm imagining Koskoff behind like a newspaper with eye hole slits. Spotted them walk up to the Chelsea Hotel. Room 410. About 5 minutes pass, there is the sounds of shooting and gunfire up top. The sirens of the police begin to whir, and you watch as a unit of 10 or so policemen rush up, armed police rush up to the top of the room. About 10 minutes later, you see your companions being dragged down. Tennessee Gray in particular looks like he's being taken off separately from the rest of them, and he is bloodied and wounded, while Catherine, Marcus, and Lucian are not cuffed. They are being dragged very forcibly away, and they have some minor scratches and wounds on them as well. You spot the police captain, who I'm imagining you've done at least some feeling around and some research on, Captain Robson, who has this almost zealous dedication to hunting down those who would evade justice, and he's been on their case the whole time. You would suspect that he probably knows who you are by sight, so you wouldn't want to be seen by him, but he is yet to make any kind of contact with you. You watch them get taken out in the police cars. Tennessee Gray's car is heading off separately from the rest of the pack.
Well, Koskoff will go outside, and once again, around the corner and behind a dumpster, he has his trusty motorcycle, which has never failed to start on the first kick, and fires it up. And he's going to follow the car that is taking Tennessee. Because he, just from the wounds, he's like, oh, they're probably going to the hospital or something like that. So it might be a little bit easier to make contact with Tennessee. And also, Captain Robson is not there. So
a kind gesture.
Absolutely. And 2 crit fails for Koskoff. That's more like it, guys. Yeah, this is all good. This is all good stuff. We're getting somewhere now. I like it. So just even out the crits and the fails is the way to go. So you spot as... Tennessee's car is being taken off, and indeed it looks like he's been placed into an ambulance and is being driven off to a hospital. You follow the car for about 10 minutes as it is taken into the hospital. Park outside. Tennessee Gray is pulled inside and thrown onto... well, actually, they probably just pick him up and shoulder him into the hospital, where he disappears from sight.
Okay. Well, Koskoff will... blessings from the sky. Koskoff will go ahead and park his motorcycle and follow. Go ahead and start heading into the hospital, just so he can maybe overhear where they're going to take him. Whether it's a room or it's the emergency room. You
You see him being taken into the emergency room, and the two policemen who are with him seem to be just like taking him there as he's then handed over to the staff of the hospital. The two policemen are down the end of the corridor, and they're waiting on the door to the emergency room. And you know, there's people sort of milling around here in the lobby, the foyer. There are plenty of staff on hand to speak to as well if you wanted to do that.
Okay. Yeah, Koskoff is going to go up to one of the orderlies, that are just milling about, and slip out a no small amount of money, and just walk up to the orderly and be like, "Oh, hello, I'm here to see my cousin. If you could let me into emergency room, I believe he was taken here maybe an hour ago." And just kind of shake his hand and leave the money in his palm.
Yeah. Thank you guys for all these donations. I promise I'm updating them as they come in. We appreciate that so much. The orderly kind of gives you a nod as you pass the cash over to him. And he just kind of points down to the emergency room. Guy just in there?
Yeah, why don't you lead? Please. Just take me in, then you may go.
Sure. He sort of looks furtively around him once again, but then pushes through down the corridor. You see the two policemen on either side, and they don't stop as the orderly sort of asserts his way through. He just kind of, excuse me, just coming through, and they partle aside into the emergency room. Now, inside, it's quite messy. Tennessee Gray is receiving emergency treatment to his wounds. Several doctors and staff in here as he's on the bed, and they're working around him. But the orderly he says, I gotta go. And he heads back out.
Oh, of course. Please, do not let me take time. What is the restroom?
He just points to the door over there.
Пожалуйста. All right. So I'm just going to kind of go over to the restroom and give it some time, and just kind of peek out every now and again. And I'm just going to wait for it to die down around Tennessee a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. You give it about an hour or so, and his wounds, while deep, are fairly easy to deal with. He wasn't shot. I believe he was just hit with a sword, which scraped across him fairly deeply. However, they're able to treat that fairly easily. The wound itself was taken into care early enough where it wasn't. It didn't get any complications. They didn't have to extract any bullet fragments and that kind of thing. So after about an hour or so, the staff leave. He's also taken out on his bed just to a ward. So you can get to his room fairly easily.
Okay. Yeah, I'll wait till they take him up and just kind of follow him up there. Kind of standing in the ER, maybe do over here where they're going to take him, like at least what floor?
Yep. Roll me a listen check.
Sure thing. Screw it. I'll just nat 20 that. Sorry.
All right.
Get everything organized.
No, it's all good. You got 10 of them, so why not? Yeah, you overhear the room number that he is being taken to, and the ward. You also overhear the two police officers sort of discussing, like, yeah, I think we should watch the door. Yeah, Captain Robson was real insistent that we don't let him out of our sight. So they begin discussing them.
So when I hear the room number, Koskoff will go ahead and leave the ER and head up to the room and get up there ahead of time.
Right.
And just kind of wait in the bathroom.
Cool. Okay. So You hear maybe 5 minutes later the sound of the door opening as you're waiting in the bathroom, as Tennessee Gray is then sort of lifted by some staff, placed onto the bed in there, and you hear the murmurs fade as the two police officers are standing outside the door. You can peek your head around the bathroom and you can see just through the glass that they are standing either side, and Tennessee Gray is conscious, but not feeling great, probably quite doped up, really.
Mm-hmm. I'll just give it a minute for the cops to be outside and kind of get at least a little lax, and then Koskoff will slip out of the bathroom and kind of saddle up to Tennessee, be like, "Tennessee, long time no see, my comrade."
Oh, holy shit! What? Am I dreaming?
Shh, it's okay, Tennessee. I'm real. Though the drugs, they are real as well. So, there is that. What happened, my friend?
Are you... we, all of us, we're together again. Koskoff, all of us except for you. It was Jackson. He asked us to meet him at that hotel, but when we got there, he was dead. He was dead, and there were men armed with swords and guns, and they tried to kill us.
I thought it smelled like setup. I have been around, my friend. Sorry that I was not there to help you. But I am here now.
But how are you in my bathroom, Koskoff? How did you...
Do not worry about such things, my comrade. Just know that I am here. I am always here. Watching. Waiting.
It's disturbing, but I'm glad. I suppose there might be more of those cultists out there, and if they got a good eye for us, I think we killed all of them, Koskoff. I think we killed all of those men who were in that hotel.
Yes, you probably killed all that was there. There are always more.
The others, the Jordans and the doc, they got taken. There's this detective, Robson. He thinks we're involved in some sort of conspiracy, and he's already determined that we're guilty. And finding us there in that bloodbath, they all got taken to prison, I believe.
This is true. Do you think you can move? Or should
Tennessee reaches up. Tennessee reaches up. Has he healed at all from? Does he gain any sort of benefit from the hospital?
Let's see. So you heal 3.
Oh. All right.
Yep, and you're going to be healing 1 per day.
Okay. So Tennessee reaches up and like grabs Koskoff's coat and kind of like lifts himself off the bed a little bit. He says, "Koskoff, you thinking what I'm thinking?"
It's time for jailbreak, my friend. Yes.
I like the way you think. I ain't feeling the greatest, but if you got my back, I can move. There's probably men watching us, though, even now. Can't imagine.
Yeah. It's true, yes. Perhaps, I look over, like, is there a window to this place?
Absolutely. You guys are on the 2nd floor.
Looks down at the sheets there. Just be careful, my friend. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the sheet off, and then, like, help Tennessee up, and then pull the sheet off the bed, and tie them together.
Yep.
I'm going to go over to the window and delicately open it up and throw that out. And then is there like a support beam? Is it a double window?
You got a beam that can you can tie it off. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll tie it off, and well, my friend, you want I should go first, maybe, in case you fall, I catch.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a good idea there, Koskoff. Tennessee looks around. Does he still have his clothes, his possessions, his cane?
All of your things are with you, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, noticing that they didn't inspect the cane too closely, he'll grab the cane, and even though he's healed from his old, like, leg wound, it helps to kind of prop himself up on it right now. And he'll go over to the window and he'll say, I'll follow you, Koskoff. Your lead. Once we get out of here, we need to flag down a taxi. Now, I have a car. It's a Ford Model T waiting at the Jordan. So we can grab that and take that on over to the prison so that we have a getaway vehicle.
Well, we don't need taxi. I still have motorcycle. It still has sidecar.
How did you get that out of South America?
It just always pops up. I don't know.
That's fortunate.
It's very loyal bike.
All right, then. I'll ride in the sidecar.
So, I'm going to climb down.
All right. Both of you can give me climb checks.
This'll be fun.
Climb checks. I'm not 20 that.
Yeah, I should have.
This is triggering for Tennessee Gray. It's like some rope in your hands. Oh, God.
Yeah, I failed. So I should have nat 20'd it.
Yeah. It's okay. You lose one wound as you sort of twist your ankle on the way down. You don't fall, you just sort of like come down clumsily.
So, I mean, with my wild magic surge or my tattoo, though, that means I'd take 0?
Sure, yeah, it's not magical. Yeah. So actually, it's probably really interesting for Tennessee, is as you're coming down, you watch as Koskoff sort of slips and falls and looks like it would hurt, but he just sort of like stands up and cracks his neck and is totally fine.
You're good, my friend. Please, come on, hurry. My bike is around.
You sure that you're real? You're not like a ghost or something.
We are all ghosts, my friend, to someone.
All right, then. And he finally manages to get down to the bottom of the rope and unties it from himself. He sort of like straightens his shirt out. All right, Koskoff, how do I look?
You look like you could. You look like you could take 10 men.
All right, then.
I mean,
we're probably gonna have to take more than that.
Take them somewhere, Yeah. Oh, that's much better. Yes. And we'll go around the corner to my bike, and I'll light it up, and. We'll head on over to his Model T.
All right. Yeah, fires up, and the two of you head off into the night. Meanwhile, over on the other side of town, Lucy and Catherine and Marcus have been kept in separate cells. You guys were fairly unkindly thrown into these cells in some police station. And have been left there to rot for a little while with no one really to speak to. The doors are shut and the rooms are padded, such as that you can't hear anything really outside. And I think for the most part, you guys are unwounded. Is that correct?
I have a wound, but that's it.
A couple of scratches. Yeah. Okay.
I got grazed by a bullet. Yeah.
Yeah. So nothing too serious, at least. As a group, you sort of, I guess, sit back and wonder when it is that you guys are going to be spoken to or brought out. The door swings open for Marcus Jordan, and a short fellow, fairly rotund, with a handlebar mustache and bowler hat that he recognizes to be his old friend Hercule Poirot, opens the door is opened for him by a police officer, and he steps inside as he looks at you. Mon ami. And he goes for a handshake.
Yeah, Marcus will definitely shake his hand. And then Marcus would say, we're going to need to get the consulate involved in this. Apparently, the international law has fallen upon deaf ears here in the wonderful city of New York.
I have already sent a letter to the consulate, and they will undoubtedly respond as soon as possible. I am so sorry that all of this has happened. I am here investigating some of these deaths and disappearances, and I heard straight away and came. Tell me, what happened there in the hotel?
I'm assuming that Marcus is still in the same cell with Lucia. Is Catherine there, or was she detained separately?
You guys are in separate cells, yeah.
Okay, so this is Marcus is just by himself with. Okay,
Right.
he would relate everything that occurred at the Chelsea Hotel. He would spend particular emphasis on the occult symbols that were carved into, or the iconography and tattoo scarification that were in the foreheads of the attackers, knowing that the nature of Mr. Poirot would be to be piqued by these certain things. He doesn't need him investigating murders or missing people. He needs him investigating cult activity that led to the arrest of his friends. And he's going to try to redirect his friend into the course in which would be most beneficial to Marcus.
Probably a charm.
I could do that. Don't even need a reason, but I'll do it anyway. Wait a minute. That's not right, so I'm going to roll separately, as this must be. And that is a hard success.
Nice. Yeah, you speak with Mr. Poirot and an old acquaintance of yours, and he comes to understand the nature of what happened in the Chelsea Hotel. I see. So these men, they had strange symbols on their foreheads. This Jackson Elias, mutual friend of ours, spoken to me before about investigating such matters in Peru and beyond. They are of some interest to me. Perhaps I will look further into them. Do you have any leads for me, Marcus?
I agreed to help out with what would have been perhaps and he leans closer to his friend, an instance of police indifference. It appears that they had arrested an African-American fellow, placing blame at his feet for some murders in Harlem by the name of Hilton Adams. I was going to look into it, and it seems as if this officer, this chief captain who's in charge of, the one that incarcerated me, is also in league with this Rebecca Schoensberg, this reporter. I find it very odd that they were at the same place at the Chelsea mere moments, and it wasn't just a regular police response. Very odd indeed, my friend.
Interesting. I will, thank you, Marcus. I will look into this matter and see what I can bring to bear for you as my old friend. Is Catherine okay?
Last I saw her, yes, but listen, Hercule, watch yourself. This is just like they say in the books, the Wild West. We don't need any of these colonialists thinking that they rule the world, right?
One of me, I will look after myself. Do you look after yourself as well? The consulate should be in touch shortly, this morning at latest, I would suspect. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Just watch your back, my friend.
It's been good to see you even in such circumstances as these. I will look into this matter and I will be in touch. Is there somewhere I can find you while you are staying here in New York?
I hope it's not here. But
If you, he'll give him the address of the area that he was using to meet, like the hotel where he was meeting people, not the house where he and they had been staying, because he fully intends to move from that place as the captain is probably already on to that area or that location. So he'd give him the name of like the Waldorf or something of that nature.
He smiles and turns. Oh, one last thing, mon ami. The police report speaks of a disappearance of Mr. Hemingway. I mentioned that you are set to meet with him. I can't help shake the feeling that Hemingway is involved in all of this somehow. It might all be connected, but I cannot see clearly yet. Perhaps you could give me some insight.
my friend, I believe that it all goes back to that reporter. It seems that this name, this Hemingway, was brought up because I did, in fact, have a meeting with him that was cancelled. But now, all of a sudden, he's become a person of interest, tying us not only to this place, but we also received a telegram to go to the Chelsea. It seems as if we are being, and he leans forward, seems as if we are being set up, my friend. I believe this Hemingway to be a red herring just to tie us to different places.
Strange. I wonder what that motivation for the police could be. I will look into it some more and speak with my contacts at the consulate. Thank you, mon ami. You've been most helpful. I will...
just watch out, my friend.
As soon as I hear of your being released, I will send a car for you and do everything I can. And
thank you, my friend.
He sort of shakes your hand again and leaves the cell, leaving you alone once more with your thoughts. Not far from where you are. Go ahead.
just out of curiosity, what does Poirot have on him? Does he have anything that might, I don't know, look like a weapon? Like, is he occasionally? I remember. Yeah, he has a pen,
like up here.
Can I take that?
You could try.
I'm gonna nat 20 it so I can have it.
Okay, cool. You have Hercule Poirot's pen. He doesn't notice it as you shake his hand and slip it out of his pocket. Okay,
so like a fountain pen. Like he'll go in for a hug on the smaller man and pull it out and keep that.
Alrighty. So that's interesting. So somewhere nearby, but in another cell, is our good dear friend, Dr. Lucian Ernest, who's been running away here for the past 45 minutes or so to an hour on his own. Lucian, the door opens up and Captain Robson stands in front. The cell door closes behind him. Well, Mr. Dr. Ernest, dear me, you're going to have to tell me everything that went on in that hotel. I think that's where we should start. Don't you?
Absolutely. I'll tell you everything that I know. And he will relay pretty much everything that he knows. Kind of basic, along the lines of he got a telegram from... oh my god, I forgot his name.
Jackson Elias?
Jackson Elias, that's it, yes. Jackson Elias to come... thing came together, we went to the room, and then as I opened the door, was attacked, and then Lucian and then Tennessee got injured, and Lucian went straight to him to fix him up, and then the police arrived. He'll keep it purposefully vague and basic. He won't go into too many details.
Roll me a persuade.
Persuade. See, now I got a pretty good persuade, so why not? Probably shouldn't have done that. Okay, so I mean, it's 60. Okay, so I'll fail.
Okay. So you give him the long and short of it, and Robson looks somewhat skeptical. Huh. I see. So it's just a strange coincidence that all of you guys were here at the same time. Walked into a hotel room, and there were, what, six cultists that you say were there. We know there were some guys there because they're dead bodies. And they had already killed Jackson Elias by the time you got there.
Yes, that's exactly it. Any doctor could rectify the fact that Jackson Elias's wounds were a lot older than we had been in the hotel, so we could not have inflicted those wounds on him. Captain.
Oh, I wasn't suggesting that you did inflict them yourselves. No, that's not at all what I think. But maybe what is somewhat more possible is that it was a deal gone wrong, or you guys were involved with these guys somehow, and who knows? You guys have been to Peru. Jackson Elias is a known esoteric. Yeah, we found a lot of interesting stuff on this guy. How well did you know, Mr. Elias?
Not that well. He was on the expedition with us in Peru. And that's about it.
Very interesting, you know, because you might have heard of Hilton Adams, the man standing accused for the murders of several men. He was good friends of Jackson Elias, and we've managed to track their movements, spoke together a lot. And we believed that it was only possible that Hilton could have gotten away with it if he had an accomplice. Do you think it's possible Jackson Elias may have been Mr. Adams' accomplice?
I have no idea, good captain.
Well, you know him better than I do. Is he the kind of guy who might kill someone?
I barely know him, as I said, and it has been a very long time since Peru. People change. As far as I know,
that is true.
I don't know. You probably know him better than I do.
Okay, then answer me this, Dr. Ernest. The two bodies that went missing from the morgue the other day, Larkin and De Mendoza, they were on a trip with you in Peru, and they went missing. It's very strange, very strange. You wouldn't happen to have stolen those bodies, would you, Dr. Ernest?
And why would I steal those two bodies?
Well, because I think you've done it before.
That's a very serious accusation there, dear Captain. Do you have any proof of this?
Let's just say that there's an ongoing investigation between the London branch and the New York department. And yes, there is evidence is stacking up, Dr. Ernest.
Well,
now, you see, I don't really give a shit if you've been stealing bodies, because you're dark and you've got maggots to work on and pushing science and all that shit. I honestly couldn't care less, and I don't really want to have to keep you here for this ongoing investigation any longer than I need to, because, I mean, it could be weeks before London get here, and we'd have to keep you in a cell, and my hands would be tied, your hands would quite literally be tied, and it would all just get very messy. Deportation takes a long time. It would ruin your career, etc., etc. Instead, what I'm actually interested in is knowing more about Catherine and Marcus Jordan.
Okay, what do you want to know about them?
Everything you know.
And
everything you suspect.
That is a fairly short list. As I told you before, I never saw them again after Peru, and I've barely talked to them in New York. I know they are married. They seem very happily married. They travel well all over the globe.
Okay, so let me be honest with you here, Dr. Ernest. Everywhere they go, people go missing.
Is that so?
Yeah, it is. And you know, it's been strange. So strange. You know, I don't really believe in coincidences. So very strange, and we started to connect some things together, you know, connect the dots, if you will. The latest one is one Mr. Hemingway. He's gone missing, and we believe him to be dead. He had a meeting with the Jordans, scheduled.
Right.
Never turned up. Really odd stuff. You see, we believe that there are governments at work here who would seek to curtail the interests of the United States. Which isn't something that we're very interested in, Mr. Ernest. So let me propose this to you. You don't know too much right now, and I'll believe you. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But let me tell you this. It seems very likely that you're going to be speaking with the Jordans in the near future. Yeah. And I think that you guys are going to be on a little investigation of your own, let's say. While you're on that investigation, everything you learn, everything you know, everything you find out, everything you suspect, all comes back to me.
Are you attempting to hire me, Captain? Are you attempting for me to be, what is it that you Americans say, a informant, a mole? Is that what they call it over here?
Yeah, a police informant. Voluntary. We'll even get you paid.
I feel that these questions will be more suited towards the Jordans and not me. Obviously, I will help in any way I possibly can by answering questions, but I am not going to relay information back to you.
Okay, so here's how this is going to work, Doc. I mean, when I said this was an offer, what I meant was this is going to happen, or else you're going to stay here and rot in this jail cell for the rest of your life for all I care. And we'll throw away the keys.
Is that
You don't think
so?
we haven't done this before?
And what charge are you going to put on me, Captain?
Grave robbing, I don't know. We'll fix something up. It's pretty easy to do. We've done it before.
I'm sure that you have. I'm sure that you have.
You're not in England anymore, Dr. Ernest. We can keep you here as long as we need to.
Perhaps.
But I'll let you think about it.
Very well, although my lawyer does know exactly where I am, as does my entire medical practice. But if you...
Your lawyer, yeah. Interesting guy, Mr. McCarthy, right?
That's right, yes. If there's nothing else, Captain, I think we're done here, don't you?
I'll let you stew, Mr. Ernest, and take as long as you need. I'll be back sometime next week, maybe, if you're lucky.
I'll be in contact with my lawyer. I am allowed a phone call, am I not? Is that not the law over here?
Oh, I'll think about that.
Oh, you'll think about that.
I'll give it a long, hard think. Yeah. He turns and the door opens. There are two policemen outside the door who enter after Captain Robson leaves. And they have batons in their hands.
I don't think you really want to do this.
One of them, they look between one another. Oh, I think we do.
Lucian's gonna stand up. Now, think very carefully before you do this. This could end your career and put you in jail. Now, people know I am here. That's something you really, really want to risk. I'm gonna use Persuade. I'm gonna use Persuade at nat 20 that.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to let you roll a Persuade here because they're already swinging. So they're going to come towards you with batons. I'll give you the first move here, Ernest.
Ernest is going to pick up the chair and swing at them. He's just going to...
All right, give it a fighting brawl.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. This is a losing fight. Oh, I succeed!
It's a success.
Holy shit!
The chair is like a 1d4, whatever your fighting brawl is, probably.
I have no idea. I have no... what is my fighting brawl? Oh, mine's 1d3s. A lot.
That'll do.
Right. 1 damage.
You smack the guy over the chair. It doesn't break, but it, it hits him in the side. He grunts. The two of them try to smack you with batons. That is a success and a failure. The first one hits. The baton does a d6, and it deals 6 points of damage to you. It whelps into you, right into your ribcage, and you feel something in there shatter as a baton just pushes all the breath out from your lungs, and you sort of double over. What would you like to do, Lucian?
I guess he's gonna try and fight back, but he's pretty much outmatched here. So he's gonna try and take a swing for it, but it's gonna be kind of like a half-hearted. He's winded. He can barely get up. Bloody hell!
Wow,
swinging
the rolls.
Freaking hard success. He's going nuts.
Roll that damage.
Oh yeah, another 1d3. Unfortunately, my guy is not very strong. Oh, sorry,
Hey.
that should not have been that. Sorry, it rolled the
Looks
wrong
like a D3.
dice. Oh wait, sorry, yes it did. Sorry, it was
Yeah,
the wrong
rolled correct,
animation.
Yeah, animation was weird. It's all good.
damage.
Yeah, you managed to, even after you've been sort of brought to your knees, you managed to punch upwards and leave one of the guys with what's going to turn into a very bruising, welt on his face. The two of them snarl and come back in. One success again. The baton comes down hard across your back for 5 points of damage. As they...
I'm down.
Yep. You're unconscious. You see the baton coming down into the small of your back. You feel it shatter and break across it, and vision fades from your eyes. A few moments later, you feel a head being dragged upwards, and Captain Robson is just above you. You can barely see him, but you can hear him. Think again, Dr. Ernest. One last chance.
Spit in his face.
All right, then. And you feel the rushing of air as the baton once again strikes the back of your head, and you fall down unconscious into a dark abyss. Meanwhile, Koskoff Romanovich and Tennessee Gray have returned to the Jordans and retrieved his car. What are you guys doing?
I think as once Tennessee settles into the driver's seat of the Model T, takes off his hat and looks to Koskoff. Koskoff, now that the drugs are wearing off, I'm starting to reconsider whether or not this is a good idea. How exactly are the two of us going to go in there and break them out of prison? Do you have a plan?
Well, first off, if you need more drugs, I can get. So, consider that.
What kind of drugs you got, Koskoff?
Only good kind. Grade A drugs. I can get grade A drugs anytime.
Well, look, I'm, purely because I'm in pain, I'll take some of those grade A drugs, but continue on with your plan.
And yeah, I'll take some pills out for him. And he stole them from the ER. Well, let us see. How long do you think before they notice you're gone from hospital? That probably.
Well, honestly,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna guess like 15 minutes ago.
Yes. So we head to jail. We check to see if cops go scurrying about looking for you, wondering, oh, where did Tennessee go? We don't know. We must find. Put out PA. And so once they clear out, they probably know me. You said this guy, he was looking for you, no?
Well, I don't know if he was looking for you in particular, but he seemed to be looking for all of us, and he seemed very interested in Peru.
Well, if he's interested in Peru, he probably know about me. I am, as you say, conspicuous. So
is our plan to talk our way through this, or what?
If you think we can try. But
I'm not so sure that we can, Koskoff, to be honest. I wish we could.
I do too. So we go with plan B, which is plan boom. I have grenades, I have guns. We can figure it out.
Let's not kill our way through the entire police officer corps of New York City. Maybe before we go to the prison, we create some sort of I wonder if they're even at the prison. Regardless, we should create a diversion. Maybe we should blow up a building, an uninhabited building, but something symbolic. Get the police to go there, and then there'll be less of them in our way.
I agree. Now, do you know where this big city? No.
There's a lot of buildings. I don't really know New York that well, but I'm sure we can find something nearby the prison.
This is true. So, we go, we set bomb to go boom. Cops come out, we go in. How do you want to get in? Just go in? Shall we try to get different clothes and pretend to be other people? You know, like, I am just here for windows. We do windows on Tuesday.
Well, maybe we ambush a couple of security guards, get their, uniforms, their keys, and we go in that way.
This could work. You're very smart, my friend.
Sure could.
If nothing else, we convince them to give us, if they do not want to, of their own free will.
All right, so you said you've got explosives already, like, just handy in the back of your motorcycle?
I go nowhere without at least something that goes boom. It makes me feel more like... I was just
curious, because motorcycles, they get bumpy, and I know explosives are volatile. But you've come this far, so...
And Koskoff just pulls out like a pineapple, grenade. He's like, no, it's not until you pull this pin. And he pulls the pin
but you don't have to do that.
And he puts it back in. It's like, yes, it's safe till you pull pin. Trust me.
I guess I will. Because I don't have much of a choice at this point, except for to run away, and I'm not going to leave our friends in the dirt with that Officer Robson. So, but the building, let's go. Let's find something without people in it, preferably. I don't want innocent people to die.
Well, of course,
want to get our friends out. Yes, and find out what's going on.
Yeah, we want to avoid tragedy.
All right, well, no use talking about it because I feel like we have a foolproof plan here, so let's just go. He starts up the car.
All right. The two of you drive off to find a police department and to blow something up. Meanwhile, let's cut over to Catherine Jordan, who has been whiling away in a cell for the past hour or two, not really hearing or seeing much. The door swings open. Captain Robson appears. You notice that his one of his knuckles looks like it's seen some damage recently, most likely from punching someone, either Marcus or someone else. Who knows? And he steps in and says, "Miss Jordan, there is a phone call for you."
Oh, thank you for informing me. Who is it?
Your lawyer.
Oh, excellent. I'd love to take that call.
He nods and leads you to a room with a telephone in it. There's a policeman who's just holding the line. Mm-hmm. And the two of them wait outside as you take the phone call.
Mr. McCarthy.
Mrs. Jordan. Gotten yourself into quite the situation here.
Well, the police would like to make it seem that way.
Shortly, I will be removing the two of you from custody.
Thank you kindly, Mr. McCarthy.
You should note, however, that we do see this as a failure.
Duly noted.
Do not fail us again, Catherine.
Also noted.
All right. Well, get back to your cell and wait till the morning. Things will be cleared up by then.
All right. Thank you kindly. Have a lovely day.
You head outside, and the police officers take you back to your cell.
Mm-hmm. Do I see Marcus as
No.
I leave me back to my cell? Okay.
Yeah, the shutters are closed.
Okay.
You do see two policemen coming out of a one room, both of them with batons. So. Captain Robson leads you back inside and comes into the cell with you as well. So, Miss Jordan, I suppose this is a dead end for me, but is there anything else you can tell me about what happened tonight?
Well, I'm sure my husband filled you in on everything that happened. If not, then surely the good doctor did. Terrible thing with those cultists.
Absolutely. Terrible stuff.
All that blood, it's just sorry, just thinking about it, it's making me a bit queasy.
I bet. I bet. You're not used to violence, are you, Miss Jordan?
Oh, of course not.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Just so you know, and I'm sure this will all be cleared up pretty soon, but we have received the necessary paperwork to go and search your apartment here in New York. I hope that's okay with you.
Oh, of course. Sorry.
It's a routine inspection, that kind of thing, yeah.
As long as you have the warrant.
Oh, absolutely, we do. Yeah. Okay. Well, you just stay here, and you guys should be out by the morning.
All right.
Okay. He gives you a long look and leaves.
Just sit there.
Meanwhile, go ahead.
Yeah, she's just thinking about. She's like going through the checklist in her head. She's like, okay, strangled him. He died from strangulation. I hung him up on a rope, filled him with alcohol, spilled some alcohol on the paper, typed up the suicide note. Yeah, everything's fine. Just going through that checklist in her head.
So, meanwhile, with
Suicide.
Project Boom, Tennessee Gray and Koskoff, you two have found this, say, like an abandoned sort of store not far from the police department. And are you just wiring it to blow up?
No, yeah, definitely.
Maybe we should leave a message somewhere too, so that, like, once they come here and they're like, oh, there's this fire, and oh wait, what's this message? It says, go here, do this. There's going to be a second attack somewhere far away on the other side of the city.
We could maybe make it look like botched attempt at exploding building.
I like it. I like it.
Just start small fire, but at least leave evidence to send them across town. I like
what's a real, maybe the I don't know, let's say the Empire State Building. That's important.
Oh yeah, it's big, yeah.
Tennessee will write the note.
And
he doesn't usually write in
Go ahead.
He doesn't usually write in cursive, so he'll write this in cursive. It's really, really bad looking. Chicken scratch.
Okay. And where do you send this note?
All right, well, we don't want the note to get burned up in the fire, so, what do you think, Koskoff? You know fire.
All too well, my friend.
So he kind of like scratches the side of his face where there's scarring from the time in Peru.
All too well. Let us put near back door. We can put implements over there. Start firing on the building. You could even call it in.
Oh, that's a good idea. Is there a telephone nearby?
Yeah, there's probably like a telephone you can find, or at least break your way into, let's say.
All right, so he'll roll up the note, put it in a bottle, put the bottle at the back door in like a place where like you would have to see it if you were investigating, and says, "Do you do a good American accent, Koskoff?"
I mean, I did some community theater years back, but I think I can pull it off.
Oh, really? I didn't know that about you. Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear it. You want to do the phone call?
Yeah, sure.
And so Koskoff's going to set up and maybe siphon some gas out of a car, like in an alley.
Yeah.
And just kind of sprinkle it around and just make it look like set the fire away from the rest of the gas, so it looks like it just didn't quite catch all, and just do it like near a window, so the smoke can kind of waft out and it look much bigger than it actually is. And then once he kind of starts that up, and Tennessee's got the node in place, we'll kind of pop off next, maybe like around the block near the car, and Koskoff will pull out the phone and dial the number to the police station.
Okay. Yeah. The phone call rings through. Mr. Romanovich, how can I help?
There's a fire?
At the Empire State Building?
What?
Oh, I'm someone who knows everything about you, Koskoff, and everything about all of your friends.
Is that true? So you know that...
Perhaps I should prove myself. You had a sister. She died in Peru.
Be very careful. If you know me so well, as you say you do.
I know that you're a very dangerous man, Mr. Koskoff, yes.
So then you know what comes next.
Yes. Well, speaking of which, may I suggest to you, before you go blowing things up, that everything's going to be fine. In the morning, the Jordans and your friend, Dr. Lucian Ernest, will be removed from custody.
Why should I believe you?
I suppose you have no reason to trust me, but let's just say that I see things as they are about to happen. And this one goes very badly for you.
And how do you see it going for you in future?
Oh, very poorly if I were to ever cross you, I'm sure, Mr. Koskoff, but I have no interest in doing that.
So why you help?
I'm an interested party.
Interested in who, exactly?
Interested in the continued survival of you and your companions. Well, most of them at least.
I don't suppose you would monologue and tell me why.
I suppose I wouldn't, Mr. Romanovich, as tempting as that may well be for someone in my position. No. But let's just say that I am a businessman, Mr. Romanovich, and I think that is a language which we both understand is transactions. Cold hard cash. Is that not the case?
It has served me well in past,
Very well. Then what is your asking price, Mr. Romanovich?
Asking price for what?
For faith. For trust. To believe me here now. What would you say that price was?
My sister back.
Your sister is dead, Mr. Romanovich, as you well know. Augustus Larkin saw to that.
And I saw to him.
Then that chapter is closed, and there is nothing further for us to discuss. I cannot bring back your sister.
Tell me what came of that which she became.
Do you believe in monsters, Mr. Romanovich?
Koskoff kind of reaches up absentmindedly and scratches the left side of his face.
I have to.
Of course, you're a smart man after all. Well, that is the fate of those who come too close to the father of maggots. Monstrosity.
Is it still around?
It is, and it always has been, and it always will be.
Where?
In dark recesses of your mind it still lives, and that has power for a creature such as that. But it is no longer in Peru, if that's what you mean. It moves further eastwards.
So what you want?
I want you to do nothing, Mr. Romanovich. It's very simple. Just wait for your friends to be retrieved, and then speak with them.
Kind of looks over at Tennessee.
Haven't burned building in a while, but many more buildings to go. Maybe another day.
Very well, Mr. Romanovich.
So I assume I hear from you again at a random point in day, sometime in future.
Let's agree to that we will speak again as businessmen.
All right, I look forward to it.
As do I, Mr. Romanovich. A pleasure doing business with you. And you feel the line hang up.
And he hangs the phone up and slowly walks back.
Tennessee, change of plan. We should we should go put out fire.
Wait, did you already start? Oh, I mean, that was a long conversation. He looks back. How much is burned?
If you've already started the fire, then probably a substantial fire. Not so insubstantial that you couldn't put it out, but yeah.
Go put out.
But maybe we should definitely get out of here.
Definitely.
And they'll be on their way to the Empire State Building in no time. Hop on in. Gets the car ready. So, how was that conversation? What did you talk about?
I have on good authority that they will be released tomorrow. So perhaps we just hold off.
Well, all right, but whose authority? And he's driving towards Mordecai's. Slow, okay. But as conversing. Whose authority?
Interested party. Is all he told me. But he told me many
Sounds
things.
Ominous.
Quite ominous, my comrade. But he knew things. He knew things about us. Things that he couldn't.
And he just works over there at the prison?
I do not believe I reached prison. You and I have seen many strange things. This does not shock me.
Then. It's a little unsettling, but if you believe they're going to get out in the morning, we can always wait, and if whoever this is, lies, then we can burn down another building, Plenty of time for everything. In the meantime, do you have a place you're staying here in town?
Yeah, we can go to motel. Edge of town.
Oh, all right. I'll take you to the motel. There's a fella I think I'd like you to meet. I'd like everyone to meet him once they're out of prison, named Mordecai. He knows a little bit about Peru, and I think you'll find him fascinating and lucrative, too. He'll head to look for a motel close to where Mordecai lives.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you can easily find one. Separate rooms, same room?
I hope you don't mind if I just stay in the same room as you tonight. You know, I think safety in numbers, and also I lost my wallet, so.
Worry not. I cover.
You're a good man, Koskoff.
Pulls out a roll of bills and thumbs off a couple of 20s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys settle into the hotel room tonight. After about an hour that you have been in there, you hear a on the door.
You expecting?
No. He twists the panther head of his cane and begins to slowly inch part of the blade out from the cane sword. But I'll be ready on the side of the door there if they give us any trouble.
And Koskoff is going to go up and like put his gun like right up to the door beneath the peephole, and just kind of just quickly glance out there to see who it is.
Yeah. You see a familiar yet diminutive figure of Felix Leiter, who is one of your criminal contacts here in New York. He has a long sort of black trench coat on, which probably hides various things, illicit things, which he sells. And he at most times looks nervous and sweaty.
Yes. Is my friend Felix. Do not shake hands. It will be wet.
And he'll open the door, like unlock all the doors and the chain.
Felix, please come in. Hurry.
Yeah, hey, Koskoff. Who's your friend here?
He's friend.
I'm Tennessee.
That's all you know.
Oh,
We're Tennessee.
Mr. Gray.
Tennessee friend.
Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sick. I wouldn't want to, pass my germs off onto you.
Yeah.
He makes sure that the door's locked.
So you guys been hearing what's going on tonight? Got some good stuff.
Yeah, what inform us?
Chelsea Hotel. People go in. Not so many people come out. And there's these guys from Africa. And I know they got these swords, and they start slicing them up, at least take them away. Bad stuff happens in the police cell tonight, I hear. Yeah. Someone got beaten up real bad. This English guy.
English guy. Doctor?
It depends.
He reaches out a hand.
Thumb off at 20.
Yeah, Doc. I can't remember his name. Something English and fancy.
It sounds about right. Doc, better fancy pants. So, they beat up the fancy pants. What about was there two others? Couple.
Yeah. Husband and wife too. Have fancy schmancies as well. High up in the food chain.
Yeah. What you hear?
Well, I hear that they walk in and there's a bunch of guys dead, and the police want to hold them as long as they can. That Robson guy wants to keep him there as long as he can, and a call comes in from somewhere abroad, and it all just goes away.
That sounds about right. From what I know. Okay. What do you know about what happened at hotel? Where are these what the Tennessee, what do you call them? Cultists? The cultists?
I mean, they had these strange tattoos, maybe just wounds carved onto their heads. Hard to describe, but I could draw it for you. And he does give a quick scrawl because he's been thinking about this image that was also inscribed onto the head of Jackson Elias. And they'd carved this, I assume, onto Jackson's head too. Now, to me, I don't know whether or not this is a cult, but that's what my gut says to me. This is
I seen that
thing.
I seen that sign before.
Oh yeah.
Where are you?
Yeah, in the papers. Yeah, the Hilton Adams case. Dead guys had one of those in the foreheads. I saw the files. Yeah, that's real weird.
You talking about the the two fellas from South America that got murdered, they also had that same.
Sure did. They sure did, fella. And
gives a wary look over to Koskoff.
I don't know what it means, though. I had just seen it before, you know. It just struck me as strange. After I saw it, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So it's just kind of weird. You know, one though weird thing though, the two in there, the fancy schmancy's husband and wife, they got connections, but the call, it didn't come from no diplomacy place. It came from the high ups in the police, like the top of the food chain, from like a commissioner office, that kind of place.
Oh. And who is at the top of the food chain here in New York City's finest?
It depends who you ask, fella. Depends who you ask. If you're asking me, well, my hand's a little little lightweight now, you know.
Yes, you'll need something to dry, and he'll take another bill and pat his palm with it.
Yeah, he puts it into his pocket.
Well, you know, there's a lot of people who could be interested in this whole thing going away. Yes. Yeah, you got the police commissioner, but he doesn't really do too much no more. He's not exactly the one pulling the strings no more. You see, they've been all bought out across New York. You know, they most of the states around here as well. There's a corporation, Dunsborough Corporation. He deal in all sorts, oil and gas and munitions, that kind of thing. They're all over the place. And, yeah, they got people all over in the police. They're the ones who are pulling the strings around here, if you ask me.
Dunsborough. Have I heard of this in my dealings at all?
Probably peripherally, like they are a big arms, munition, natural gas, oil, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So one of those megacorp type structures where it's difficult to say exactly what they do, but they've got a lot of fingers and a lot of pies.
Yeah. Okay. It's very interesting. So, you got anything to sell? Hardware-wise?
Well, I got some bits if you want to come look at the workshop later tomorrow. If you guys got a job on or something like that, I can get you guys to have a look around. But the thing is, I'm going to be laying a little low. Well, with all this stuff going on, you know, people keep dying, people keep going missing. I can't trust the police, but you can't trust no one these days, neither. You know, there's people like me start going away, and they start showing up with these on their foreheads. You know, I don't want to be one of those.
No, we do not. But please keep eyes open. I might call.
Yeah. I mean, you know, keep my eyes and ears open here and there where I can. So, trying my best. Anything else you guys want?
Tennessee?
No, I'm not much of a firearms man myself, but what about shotguns? Concealed shotguns?
He looks around nervously as you say that fairly loudly, even though you're in the room.
Yeah, keep it down, fella. I got what you want. I hook you up.
Just for
you guys expecting trouble?
You never know.
Yeah.
Felix,
I guess so.
There is always trouble.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just thought I'd drop by and see what see what it is you guys needed. You know where to find me if you need me.
Of course. You have a good day.
You too, fellas.
And he scurries out of the room.
So, Dunsborough Corporation.
I'll be right back.
Why do you think they would want Jordan's and Dr. Free?
Well, I don't know about the doctor, but Obviously, there is more to the Jordans than what we know. They're very well connected. As ambassadors, I would imagine they're wrapped up in all kinds of corporate dealings, and corporations are capable of waging war just as easily as a nation is. Maybe this Dunsborough Corporation is protecting them, or maybe they're trying to blackmail them.
That's true. I do not think they are mere ambassadors.
Well, I've never heard of an ambassador that can shoot a gun like Miss Jordan can. That's for certain, and Mr. Jordan's not a bad shot himself.
This is true. She holds gun like it was part of hand.
Koskoff, I haven't asked you yet, but what are you doing here in New York City, just out of curiosity?
I got the same missive that you did. I just did not trust. But when I hear everything going down, I figure, well, my friends are in the shit. They helped me out in Peru. It would be bad karma to not help you out. So I am here. It is good seeing you again, Tennessee.
It's good to see you too, Koskoff. I know it was a shit show down in Peru, but as strange as it sounds, I don't think I've ever felt so alive as those days, those weeks when we were down there together.
That was a time. Please, let us share a drink. Stasha, you will not be forgotten.
So the two of you drink away into the night, eventually get some rest. You head over to the police department in the morning to see if, or watch maybe from across the street to see if they're getting out.
Oh yeah.
Will, I had a real quick question.
Yeah.
Is Hilton Adams being held in the same facility that Marcus and Catherine and Lucian are being held in?
You don't know.
Is my cell being guarded?
It is.
Could I ask one of the guards if Hilton Adams is being held here?
Yeah, you sort of knock on the door or whatever and make a noise. The shutter comes across. Police officer squints. What is it?
I just wanted to know, is the accused criminal Hilton Adams being held here?
We're not supposed to talk to you. And you're kind of...
All right, they don't know anything.
He says it loud enough for them to hear.
roll me a persuade.
Yeah, that's a critical success.
Nice. Oh, damn. 0-1, yeah. The guy sort of
how would you let me out of here for a second?
The guy pulls across the shutter, hands over the keys to the department.
I'll prove to you he's here. I'll take you right to him. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you there right now. Yeah. He opens up the shutters and says, "Hey, we know what we're doing here.
I was just
but
asking
I'm not
a
supposed to be
simple
talking
question.
to you. So why did you shut the hell up? Yeah."
Yeah. I'm just curious. You to pass the time. If you don't want to, what could I possibly do about the situation? Are you going to? It's just not going to hurt you at all. Obviously, I don't even know your name. Just asking if Hilton Adams is here. I've read about it in the papers.
Well, I just heard you guys are getting let out this morning, so I guess you won't do any harm. Yeah, he's here.
Has he been trouble? Papers say he sounds like trouble.
Yeah, bit of trouble, I guess. But he knows what's coming to him now, so he's just, accepted his fate. You see it with a lot of these guys.
Do I have one guard on the door?
As far as you can see, yeah, but there's probably more down the corridor, you'd imagine, but you can only see one.
Got a question for you, my man. Would you, I'm a bit of a journalist. I'm not sure if they told you that. I'm doing a story on Mr. Hilton Adams.
No journalists. I made that clear. I have made that clear.
We're not talking. But what if, and this is just pure speculation, I am a storyteller. What if, I believe that there's, you have to have mandated shower time or recreation where you're able to take the inmates, if you will, out into the yard or to the, clean themselves up once a day. Was there any way that perhaps whenever Mr. Hilton Adams goes outside or goes to the showers that, I could go as well? And if that is something that is possible, perhaps then I could, maybe $500 would find its way somewhere about your person.
Yeah, his eyes widen.
All for the story, my man.
I guess it's possible. What kind of story are you writing?
Oh, the good kind. The ones that people like to read.
Well, that's a lot of cash. I know you're good for it. The rest of them are talking about you in the station today.
Yeah.
Well, I know the guys there on the ward, so I can probably make that happen. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that would help out, my man, because then I'd be able to speak to Mr. Adams. We wouldn't speak anymore. You would still be maintaining your orders.
Yeah.
To converse with.
Be out of it. Yeah. Well, that could work. I mean, cash up front, mind.
Oh, as soon as I get out of here, my man. They, of course, took everything.
I'll see you get your stuff back once you get out this morning, Mr. Jordan.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
I'll be waiting. I'll be right in here.
So, yeah. All right.
He closes the shutters and he's clearly thinking about it and liking it the more he thinks about it. So, morning comes, unless there's anything else you guys would like to do. Alright. So,
sequence, like the push-ups.
Yeah, absolutely. You get like super swole overnight.
It's really just like, you know?
Uncle Irish, yeah.
We all have like 27 tats.
That's it. So, Lucian, by the time it's morning, you have come to assess yourself that you have 3 broken ribs and a fair amount of spinal damage done as well. You are in an incredible amount of pain. This is the kind of wound that you would put someone in hospital for. They did not hold back, and it was incredibly brutal assault. However, the cell door swings open as morning light comes into the room, and you see Captain Robson there. Dr. Ernest. Oh, looks like you had a bit of a fall there, huh? So glad to see that you're feeling better. You're free to go. And he like stands in the doorway.
Lucian will kind of pull himself up in agony and lean heavily on the chair. And what?
Like I said, you're free to go home, Dr. Ernest. Call came. You're good.
He'll kind of stagger out and lean up against the door and kind of just stare directly into the captain's eyes, but just not say a word, and then just walk past him and really just stagger out.
Yeah, he like, as you're about to go past, he grabs you here and pushes you up against the wall and leans into you and says,
I don't know what kind of friends you got that managed to get you out of here, but I'm going to find out who they are. Huh? I'm going to find out what it is you guys are all up to. And I'm not going to let anything get in my way, understand? Nothing is going to get in my way. Not even you.
And
Get the hell out of here.
Lucian will just smirk, and then just not say a word, but smirk, and then go down and just start very slowly staggering down the corridor, I guess, holding his ribs and barely able to walk. He's going to have to lean all the way out.
Yep. Next, Catherine. The door swings open, and Captain Robson is there. Free to go, Mrs. Jordan.
Thank you. She'll get up, brush herself off, fix her hair.
We'll be in touch.
Oh, if you say so.
Oh, I say so, Mrs. Jordan. Say hi to the doc for me. Make sure he's okay. Looks like he took a little tumble. Real shame.
Shame indeed. Didn't know he was quite so clumsy.
Very clumsy. Well, you have a nice day.
And he moves on to Marcus's cell as you're out in the corridor. Opens it up. Mr. Jordan, free to go.
Have I gotten my shower? Have I gotten my meet cute with Hilton Adams?
So the police officer has agreed to arrange that at a later date, not while you're in here, but he can get you in. Basically at a date that you wish, but he needs to speak to the guy on the ward. So he would probably work that out with you, that you have a way in. Because it's like crack of dawn, so there's probably only a couple of hours between that conversation and now. But yeah, he opens the door, Mr. Jordan, free to go. It's your lovely wife. You guys have a nice day.
You too.
He'll walk up, and I'm assuming it's 6'6" that Marcus is taller than this gentleman.
Yeah. Probably a couple of inches in it. He's like 6'2", 6'3".
He gets as close as he can and looks down, and he pulls the pen out, licks the tip.
Do you have something to write with? Or write on, I should say. Pardon, I already have a pen.
He nods to the guy who you've just brought out. What you need to write?
Oh, just a note.
There's a piece of paper is brought to you by the compliant police officer.
Thank you, officer I've never met before. Let's see. How do you spell your last name, Captain? Is it
Robson?
Cocksucker? Yeah.
And he turns it around, and it says, "Fuck you, cocksucker," as he gives it to him.
It's been a lovely stay. I doubt we'll be seeing one another again.
We'll see about that, Mr. Jordan. As they say, it takes one to know one, so.
Are you ready to go, dear?
I won't argue with that.
But you guys have a lovely evening. Look after the dog. Tell him I say hey. I miss him. Ernest.
Who's this?
Your old friend.
Who's Ernest? Honey, who's he speaking about?
All right, you two, get the fuck out of my sight.
Gone to his head. Yes, well, I'll leave this piss-pot city and country. Seems to be run by small-dicked men. And he leaves.
As soon as they get out, as soon as they get out of earshot, he immediately turns to Catherine.
How was that? I was feeling that one. Whew. Was it too much?
It was a bit much. It was a little bit much, but you know, I can tell he really gets under your skin. So you know, it's bound to happen every once in a while.
No, he said something about you, and I thought that maybe he'd done something. He'd threatened you.
I barely even
threatened him back, like you told me about.
actually expected an interrogation or something. They barely even came in the room. They said, "Oh, you have a phone call." I got a phone call. I'll tell you about it.
Oh,
when we're on our way.
I probably shouldn't have done all that then.
Probably shouldn't.
All right, well,
That's all right.
bit of a
Probably
mistake,
deserved
I
it.
guess.
Yeah, I wonder if he's ever taken a trip to Miami. He should really go.
He should.
I think he'd love it
South
there.
Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he would probably stay.
Boca Raton, even.
Okay.
Let's go.
Perhaps.
I believe that I've been told that Mr. Lucian Ernest has taken a fall, but I saw some men with
Who?
nightsticks last night. You know who I'm talking about, dear. We should get to
So I might be listening. Trying to keep them. All right.
please. We're talking harsh enough. Put around the car.
Okay.
Outside,
You see-
Tennessee Gray and Koskoff Romanovich across the street as you guys are watching from, imagining just outside a cafe by a street lamppost, that kind of deal. You see that there is a very long car which is pulled up just outside of the police station, which looks to be privately owned. The door slides down, and a hand appears outside the window in a beckoning gesture.
Koskoff, you see that? You see that hand beckoning us?
Was that beckoning us?
I mean, I don't know.
The hand
think it's
appears
beckoning
again a few
us.
moments later and beckons once more.
It seems very
You're-
insistent.
We are being beckoned. Yeah. Well,
Now, here's the question. Do we trust that hand? We don't know what's attached to that hand. It could be anybody.
you make a good point, my friend. Perhaps I bring a grenade, just in case.
Just in
That-
case.
But
But,
Koskoff's going to like have a grenade, and as he's sitting there, like kind of unscrew the firing pin, like the accelerant out of it, so it's like a dud. Just so you know, and just kind of leave
Okay.
that in the car.
Okay.
all right, well.
The two of you come over as you're, walking across the street. You will see Dr. Lucian Ernest coming free from the police department. He looks to be sort of hunched over and holding several wounds. He's like, the blood has come through and soaked his clothes and dried. He definitely didn't go in that way. And you see a police officer speaking to him and pointing towards the car. For you, Lucian, as the police officer mentions that this car has been called for you.
Lucian's kind of hesitant, just considering what the police just did. And thank you, but I think I'll get a taxi. Thank you.
Your choice is your lawyer.
Oh. Well, as long as it takes me somewhere where I can patch myself up. And he'll slowly start stagger into the car.
Okay. So Koskoff and Tennessee, you see Ernest, the car's window has rolled its way back up again. Lucian, you'll probably spot Koskoff and Tennessee coming across the street as well as you spot them.
He's gonna look so very confused.
Koskoff,
Right, so-
he did not look like that when I saw him last.
Oh, I mean, I just figured looking at you, he just came out better. So you're saying cops did this?
I suspect so.
And they called me criminal. At least I am honest about my violence.
And
Tennessee will wave to Lucian. I guess they're probably standing close to the car, but like its window rolled up, right?
The window's been rolled back up again.
I'll start heading towards those two then. Did I see who was in the car?
The windows are tinted black.
Well, in that case, just ignore it and just go to them.
The registration plate, as you walk around the back of the car to get to Koskov and Tennessee, reads McCarthy. That custom plate.
Sounds like what my lawyer would do.
And so Koskoff, they beckoned over here, so he's gonna go like up to the window and just be like, "You need to talk? No?" Kind of just with his ring, just kind of like rap on the window.
Yeah. The window slides down for a moment, and you can peer inside into darkness as you see a gentleman wearing sunglasses and a suit. He appears to be ice, sort of cold to the skin, and very thin as well. Mr. Romanovich, please step inside the car.
And you are?
McCarthy, I am a lawyer.
Ah, lawyer. Interesting. Who's lawyer?
I do believe he's mine. And Lucian will come around and open up the door and try and get in.
Yeah, Koskoff will help him in.
It's good seeing you again, my friend.
And give him a good hearty pat on the back.
Oh, please, don't do that. It is good to see you again too, Koskoff.
Yes, just remember, pain is weakness leaving body.
Yes, that's actually not strictly true, but yes, okay. Whatever you say. Oh.
Okay. And Koskoff will motion for Tennessee.
I mean, you think we should get in the car with this guy? We don't know this McCarthy.
Doctor seems to know. He know us, so many people know a lot more than we do.
All right. Well, I'll take the seat directly behind the driver.
And Koskoff gets in.
Tennessee Clemson.
Okay. Catherine and Marcus, you head out of the police station. You recognize the car and the number plate as Mr. McCarthy's.
Oh dear, our lawyer's here.
Do we get our weapons back?
Everything is handed back to you.
Nice.
Well, also, I should let you know that they apparently have a warrant to search our house. We should probably go to the Waldorf Hotel where we have our other place set up.
Sounds fantastic. After you, he opens the door
Thank
to the
you,
car,
dear.
I guess.
I missed
Welcome.
you. And she'll give him a little kiss on the cheek as she, before she gets in. Because,
Thank
whole,
you.
12 hours in prison without Marcus was just torture. It was horrible.
Of course. As it would be.
She'll climb into the car.
Okay.
We'll follow.
The four of you will find yourselves in the car. Sorry, 5 of you will find yourselves in the car as the car pulls away. There is a petition, as though it were like a limo, I guess, between the front and back sections of the car, which is sort of wound upwards a little bit so that you can see the back of Mr. McCarthy's head, which at this point is really just the back of a very thin, narrow head with a suit, and the car drives away as the 5 of you find yourselves in the back of this vehicle. You see Lucian in here who is probably near death.
Here, Doctor, why don't you take this? I don't really have much else. I don't think I can... You should tend to yourself.
I need a hospital or a clinic, please.
We should definitely go to a hospital immediately. Driver.
I still have a few pills if you need. So
They're grade A.
they are grade A drugs.
What are they? Exactly.
They make the pain go away.
Yes, but how? What kind of painkillers are they?
The good kind.
Good enough, give them here.
I am criminal, I am not pharmacist, so you understand.
Yeah. I understand.
So, y'all are in, as you say in America, a pickle.
I think we're just fine now.
What happened?
I'm glad to see you're at the hospital, Mr. Gray.
Oh yeah, thank you. They took real good care of me, and Koskoff was hiding in a bathroom there, and we escaped together down, we climbed down a bunch of sheets that Koskoff tied to me, and that was my night. How was your night?
Solitary confinement?
It must have been hell.
Eventful.
It was alright. The worst part was being away from Marcus.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That is 100% the worst part.
Well, obviously.
I must ask, Mr. and Mrs. Jordan, what did you do to get the captain to question so vigorously?
He didn't question us. What questions did he ask you?
Well, he asked about you, and requested me to be an informant for him, to relay information back from you two.
Please tell me you said yes.
Please tell me
Did you get this
yes.
beating?
Well, I said no. And this was
And then he beat you.
Yes.
Always say
You always
yes.
say yes to being a mole. Or an
Well,
informant.
I'm terribly sorry, but this is something new to me. I've not...
Tell us, and we tell you what to tell him. It's very simple.
Oh, we appreciate the heroics, but
It's very,
you
very
know,
heroic.
I feel sort of, responsible for this.
No, the man responsible is the men that did this. Are we at the hospital yet?
The driver is silent.
Well, now that we're all together, I've been thinking about that symbol we saw on Jackson Elias's head, and on the head of those men that accosted us, swords and guns. I met a man, a historian professor named Dr. Mordecai, and he talked to me about ties to Peru, old artifacts. Several of the victims involved, in fact, all of the victims involved so far, have all had that symbol carved onto their head. They were all connected to our trip to Peru. And he mentioned that there's a place called the House of Juju. House of Juju, run by, I think, Africans or Asians, or maybe both.
There was a business card we found on Mr. What is his name? He's dead. I've already forgotten.
Elias.
Jackson Elias. That's right. There's a business card, I believe, from the House of Juju.
I think that might be, I don't know how you all feel, and Doc, I know you're hurt real bad, and I ain't feeling great either, but I ain't gonna let whoever did this to Jackson get away with it. I want to find out what's going on, because who knows, we're probably next.
A point of order. None of this was occurring before we received these mysterious telegrams from Mr. Elias. He seems to have gotten himself in a little bit above his head, and then he brought us in, and now we spent the night in jail. The doc said no and got beaten, and you got slashed. I mean, it was just a sword and not a gunshot, but still, it looks like it was pretty bad.
I mean, it hurts. I think I'll have a scar.
Should we actually pursue this? I mean, isn't this something that maybe we should all just look at one another, with the exception of the doc who was in and out of consciousness, and we should just say, it's been good seeing you, and then we, I don't know, run away from this city?
I do not think this is option, my good Mr. Jordan. We are already caught in the noose of events, shall we say. So we must free ourselves before a big drop.
The car pulls over into a back alley, decidedly off the main streets and swerves fairly dangerously down a series of back alleys, and you feel like you are close to the port side of New York as it, the buildings around you start to become more industrial, more warehousey and shipyard-like, and off from the really suburban areas. And after a few minutes' time down here, the car pulls over and stops by just beside a shipyard. The engine stops, and Mr. McCarthy exits the car. The windows are tinted, so you can't see much outside, but you can make out the shipyard.
Okay.
He
opens the door for you.
talkative. Oh.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy.
As you guys step outside and look outside, and Mr. McCarthy, he is a razor-thin gentleman with almost no distinguishing features about himself, aside from his slim nature. Probably one of the thinnest people that you've ever met. He has a very well-fitting suit, wears sunglasses to hide a lot of his eyes, and doesn't take much notice of the group of you as you step out. He closes the door behind you, and these shipyard doors are pulled open by two dockside workers. It's dark inside. Mr. McCarthy steps in.
Catherine will put her hand in one of her skirt pockets, which definitely has a knife in it because she's got all her stuff back now. And then, she'll kind of look over to Marcus, like, shall we?
Should we be concerned about this situation? He's just a lawyer, right?
Yeah. He's a very respected lawyer. Lots of authority.
Marcus's attitude would drop as he is going to try to help help Lucian out of the car and put his arm over, lean down and put his arm over his shoulder to kind of soldier carry him a bit. But he does have his free hand. He pulls the gun out of the small of his back.
Your eyes adjust to the darkness as you step into the shipyard, where Mr. McCarthy has disappeared into the darkness as though he were a ghost. The doors begin to close behind you from the two dockside workers, and you hear the flickering hum of lights begin to enter the shipyard as a flip is switched. And you see inside to what looks to be a fairly empty but large room. You can make out a few distinguishing features as your eyes adjust to the sudden brightness, that there is a table, two tables in fact, in the middle of the room, and there appear to be two bodies upon those tables by which Mr. McCarthy is standing.
Yeah,
Please,
Catherine would have to for a moment to make sure the lights don't turn back off again, so that way, the good old pirate trick, so she could still see in the dark if necessary. And then once it's affirmed that the lights will come on, she'll open that eye as well and walk over.
Everyone coming over?
Yeah, Koskoff will eventually head on over.
Mr. McCarthy still wears the sunglasses despite being inside in a decided manner. As you step closer to the two bodies, you recognize one of them as Augustus Larkin and the other as Luis de Mendoza, both of them from Peru. Their bodies are cold and dead, and they are upon stone-cold tables that Mr. McCarthy stands over. Their bodies, Ernest, you would probably notice this immediately, have large welts all over them. They look as though they have been tortured for a significant amount of time, and their bodies have strange protrusions around them as well. Perhaps most disturbingly of all, however, is that on their chests, which have been relatively untouched by the torture, are painted black with words which are all too familiar to the group of you. And I think you might know what those words may be.
Is it one shoe buckle my shoe?
It sure is.
Oh.
The first lines of the nursery rhyme are written out upon their two bodies. The paint is older and dried. Looks like they had this done to them a little while before. Mr. McCarthy stands over the bodies. I think you might recognize these two gentlemen here.
Fuck.
Yes. I thought I blew up in Peru.
So did I. But here they were. I managed to uncover their bodies sometime after this happened to them. Brought them here. I thought that you might need to see them. Dr. Ernest, perhaps you would like to inspect.
Dr. Ernest is barely keeping conscious. As he's gone slumping more and more onto Magnus to the point where he's barely standing. And he's just pretty much out now.
All in good time. Then I will tell you what we found then.
Please do.
Something was inside of these two gentlemen, something which was extracted before their deaths, perhaps during their torture. It's not entirely clear. There are traces of same excretions which you have been studying, Dr. Ernest, from the maggots that you found there in Peru and brought back. We believe that these maggots were inside of them. Their excretions were large and all around their bodies, particularly in the bowels, intestines, where we think they incubated and lived. Whoever did this to them removed them, extracted whatever information they wanted from them, and then killed them, leaving this paint on them.
Is the symbol on their head like it was Jackson Elias's as well, or no?
There is a symbol on their foreheads as well. As you look closer, you can see the same symbol that was on Jackson Elias's forehead and on most of the cultists as well.
I know Lucian's kind of like dazed, but he'll kind of gently nudge him and point it out to him. Same damn thing, Doctor. Just like Jackson.
Yes. And he'll cough and blood will come out.
This is just fantastic.
The maggots there, I mean, I'm not a doctor, and you've been studying these, Lucian, but do they present any sort of contagious risk? Is this something that the government should perhaps be involved in?
Will, you're going to have to tell me what I discovered from studying these things.
Yeah, let's give me just a biology roll, and that will be what you sort of managed to gather. Also, there's a viewer decision in chat, which is what can the maggots do? I want you guys to answer that question there for me in the chat.
Wow. Oh, I got an extreme success.
You studied them so good.
I studied them so good.
Yeah, the extreme success of Dr. Ernest. So you spent a lot of time studying these things. You found that their growth is reliant upon how long they can stay within a human host, or indeed any kind of animal host. They can grow incredibly large, and yes, they are highly contagious. Although they basically just feed off the bodies of their hosts until they are dead and move on. So they're not unlike many other parasitic creatures. You couldn't find anything outside of that, apart from the fact that a lot of what you learn about them just doesn't make correct biological sense. And interpret that in any way that you would like to, really. These creatures are unique to the extreme. They are unlike any other creature, quite of their type. They shouldn't be able to grow that large. They shouldn't be able to live that long, and they shouldn't be that resistant to all damage, basically. You know, you really need to, like, shoot one of these things to kill them.
Yeah.
Once they get to a certain size.
Lucian will relay that back, but not quite so eloquently, as in kind of like nods and grunts and in a spate of coughing fits and all that. So yeah, he basically goes like, they're very infectious, but they should not be. They defy the laws of biology, of everything that is sane.
I've read your writings, Mr. Ernest.
It's just doing a view decision with so many Ryan Hawks space.
That was almost a Freudian slip right there.
Sometimes the Hawks just comes through, doesn't it? He says, I've read your writing, Dr. Ernest, on the matter. Very interesting stuff. Tell me, saw these same things in Peru and the same writing as well. Do you have any idea who might be behind this?
Perhaps whoever this cult is. At first, we thought it was Mr. Larkin there. My guess is this cult.
Perhaps Larkin was involved with the people who did this to them. Things turned sour. Such things happen in organizations such as this. Very well. It seems that you do not yet know much. However, I suggest that you all look into this further. I believe that you retrieved several clues from Jackson Elias's hotel room number 410. Likely whatever was going on with Mr. Elias is linked back to this, and it all links back to Peru. I will leave you to your investigations. Don't call.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy.
He nods.
Wait,
Good luck.
Wait, do you have any medical supplies here? Painkillers, hell, even ice.
You just got drugs from Koskoff.
Yes, I would very much prefer to know what drugs I'm taking.
Trust me, they are grade A.
He looks around the warehouse and points to one corner of it, which looks to be a sort of lab. Over there you'll find all the equipment you'll need, Dr. Ernest.
Thank you. He'll stagger over there and kind of slump down and start to attempt to attend to himself. There's not a lot he can do, to be honest, apart from put ice on it and take painkillers, but he'll do that.
Just before he turns...
Yeah.
Just before he turns to leave, he looks at Catherine and says, I said to you on the phone, Mrs. Jordan. Remember that well.
Of course, how could I forget?
There's only so much we can continue to do for you.
Completely understandable. Sorry this has all been such a hassle. It's the first time and I'm sure it'll be the last.
It better be. He turns and leaves.
Well, is that car out there for us?
He walks out.
For the investigation. I tried.
The car goes with him.
He could have at least given us a ride back to my car.
It was worth
the
effort.
taxi. I'd still think our best shot is talking to the folks down at the House of Juju.
Certainly do that. I also have these
Or
papers.
Mordecai himself.
Got a Emerson Imports with a handwritten note on the back. It says Silas and Kwame? No, can't read the handwriting. There's also a note from Miriam Athright at Harvard University. He was inquiring about a book of some type. Maybe that was cultural.
We'll bring us over back to this page here and
go through everything.
And remind you guys of the clues that you currently have. So this is where we give you guys some time to look over clues and remind you guys of what it is you have. Because basically you've been given everything back that you had. So you managed to grab all of these stuff, but you haven't yet had a chance to look at them. So we'll just bring up the four... Yeah, you're flicking through all the stuff. That, of course, is the symbol that you ran into that was on their foreheads. Jackson Elias also had a photograph of that symbol that he had taken, or someone had taken. And then there is the Emerson Imports address, the letter from Miriam Atwright at Harvard University, a picture of the docks, and it looks like you're probably in a place close to this right now. It's the same kind of place. You've got the letter to Mr. Carlyle that Jackson Elias had. No need for a history check on that one. That is clearly the Mr. Carlyle of the Carlyle expedition, which is at this point still hitting papers regularly. Famous expedition, which is ongoing, traveling all across the world and has been across a lot of the world at this point. And then last but not least, there was the Penny Foundation from Edward Gavigan, a cigarette box from the Stumbling Tiger Bar, and tonight only the Cult of Darkness. So these are the clues that you guys have on you right now. And feel free to sift through and ask questions as you so desire.
Will, the Cult of Darkness, that was a lecture, wasn't it? That was in
It was a lecture
NYU?
happening. Yep. Happening tonight, so it was last night.
Damn. Okay.
Well, perhaps he's still in town, Mr. Professor Anthony. It's unlikely he left the next day.
Yeah, that seems the most time sensitive. Says Greg, and not that seems the most time sensitive.
Does indeed. We could also perhaps give a ring to Miss Miriam Athright and Emerson Imports faster than visiting the places themselves.
There is a telephone in this shipyard, which is decidedly strange.
I don't think Catherine would think it's that strange because she knows Mr. McCarthy a little bit. She's just like, doesn't surprise me. We could try to get a meeting with Mr. Professor Anthony Cowles and give a ring. Do you think the Stumbling Tiger Bar is here in New York? This Pennywood Foundation looks like it's in London. Oh, you're the traveler. Let me flip through a directory. Stumbling. Maybe
and you want to find Dr. Edward... Sorry, not Dr. Edward Gavigan from the Penny Foundation.
His number is 4.
He's going to try to see if the Stumbling Tiger Bar is in New York, looking through like an address directory. If one is nearby, or she'll put it on a note to pick up a directory and look through it later if there's not one here.
Okay.
Technically, we should be able to call the switchboard, shouldn't we? Couldn't we?
That's only if they have a phone.
Right.
If it's a bar, it might not have a phone.
Right.
So
let's
that's
see.
Directory.
If you call the directory, they tell you that there is no bar named the Stumbling Tiger Bar in New York.
Okay, cool. That eliminates that.
By the way, Lucian, roll me a medicine check.
Yeah. Oh, We had a. I get 1 hit point back.
Yep. So it has been a day. So anyone that was undergoing healing has healed for 1, as does Lucian right now. So Lucian, you are on 1, so you now go back up to 2.
Huzzah!
You start feeling a bit better.
Oh, good.
The drugs start kicking in, so you're a bit more with it now. Yeah. So no Stumbling Tiger Bar. They can find you the number for the Penhue Foundation if you would like to call that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you have the telephone number for Emerson Imports as well.
Emerson Imports. What about Harvard University?
For Miriam Atwright, yeah, you can find that.
Yeah, I think she would like to call that just to figure out what book he was inquiring to, because that could lead them in a direction.
Okay.
Will, while they're going through all the notes, Lucian, now he's feeling a bit better, is gonna do an autopsy on these 2 bodies.
Okay, cool. You can roll me a medicine check.
Cool. Here we go. 57. That's a success.
Okay. Okay, so a autopsy of them is going to take a little while, so I'll get back to you in a moment once you've taken the time to drug yourself up and take a look. They can give you the number for Dr. Miriam Atwright's office if you would like to call that, Catherine.
Okay, yeah, she'd like to call that.
Mm-hmm. The phone picks up, and a woman who sounds like she smoked for most of her life picks up the phone. Hello?
Hello, is this Dr. Miriam Atwright?
Yeah. Who's calling?
Oh, this is a
Is it Andrew?
No, my name's not Andrew. And my name is Katie, and I'm calling on behalf of
Hi, Katie.
Mr. Jackson Elias. I believe you spoke with him recently.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember that name.
It seems that Mr. Elias, he's been redoing his research. He lost some of his notes. Could you please provide me with the name of the title he was inquiring about you with?
Yeah, let me look for my notes. Okay. Here, you hear a rustling of paper for a minute or so. Here it is. He wanted me to track down a copy of Africa's Dark Sects. I was able to find it anywhere.
Do you know perhaps where you recommended him to look next?
I told him to look around the libraries, and then I told him to go look in any antique stores. Sometimes they have books like this turn up, that kind of thing. I told him to. He should have notes of this.
He lost all his notes. There was a terrible accident. But,
oh dear. Yeah. Speak to any antique dealers in New York or elsewhere in the country, I guess. If it's not in the library's records, then that's what we have to do. Usually it means that they were handwritten by 1 or 2 copies lying around, and usually they just end up in collectors' libraries, personal collections, that kind of thing.
Thank you very much. Miss Atwright, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
Okay, bye.
All right. She'll relay that information as she learned. Group.
I mean, we could go to Professor Mordecai. He was a collector of antiques and artifacts, and he did have some interest in Peru.
It's quite true. Also, this
You also have his telephone number for note as well. He gave you his business card.
Perhaps we should go see before he shows up dead, since everyone else seems to be taking that path.
She'll just offer the phone to Mr. Gray.
Oh yeah, I'll give him a ring. He'll go ahead and call the number that's on the business card.
Phone picks up very quickly. Dr. Mordecai Lemming, how can I help?
Mordecai, it's Tennessee Gray. Good to hear from you.
Mr. Gray. I was wondering if I would be hearing from you again. This is a real delight. How is everything?
Oh, well, we've had our challenges, but I thought you would be interested to know that me and my associates are looking into a local matter, and we thought you might have some expertise in this matter. Tell me,
Right.
you haven't heard of it's a rare book, I know. It's a long shot, but you do have an extensive library. A book called Africa's Dark Sects.
Africa's Dark Sects. The name is certainly familiar. It may be one that I have in my personal collection. Let me see. Hold for a moment, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
A few minutes later, he comes back. That is strange. I was certain that I had it, but it appears to no longer be in my collection. That is rather strange.
Is there anyone who frequently borrows from your collection? Perhaps you have a trade going on.
Let me think. Oh, well, the only person who could have known that it was here were the people that I bought it from, which were those folks I told you about from the House of Juju. I acquired it from them, let's say 2 months past. They said they could get it for me, even though it's not generally around. You see, there's only a few copies of it. It's a very rare book indeed, so I paid them handsomely for it. This is most distressing that I can't find it. Maybe I've misplaced it.
Well, that's still very helpful. You think there's any chance that these folks over at the House of Juju might have one of the other rare copies?
Well, it's possible, I suppose. Why are you so interested in it, if I might ask? I have read the tome myself, so I can tell you much about it.
Well, I think that might be a conversation that you might want to have with me and all of my associates, and while we're there, we might as well take a look around your library. Perhaps we can find some sort of clue as to what happened to your copy of the book.
Very well, yes. Would you like to visit this evening?
Let me ask my friends here. Friends, you have any interest in visiting Professor Mordecai's private library this evening?
Let's see, why not? Does he have the book?
He did have the book, and the book is missing, so I thought we might take a look around.
Interesting.
Perhaps we can find the clue.
I personally would like to rest, but I suppose if need be.
What time is it now? Is it like mid-afternoon?
Mid-afternoon.
Yeah, oh yeah, because we got out of
What time
prison.
you've driven out and gotten... Yeah.
Professor Mordecai, I hate to put you out. One of our friends and myself, we're a little injured. If we come and visit you this evening, do you think you could put us up for the night if we needed to?
Oh, certainly. I have the room, and, well, to host such esteemed guests would be an honor and a pleasure, especially if I get the chance to pick their minds.
Yes, and I don't personally have a... well, never mind. I'll be looking forward to staying over tonight.
I'll be expecting you. Very well.
He'll hang up.
Okay.
All right.
Perhaps we could have a doctor make a house call. Yeah.
Marcus would suggest maybe getting a physician. Back in the day, this was common practice to make a house call. And as soon as they would get there, maybe bring in a house call for Lucian.
Okay, so you want to go to Mordecai Lemming's house and then call the doctor in there?
Let's take a taxi to my car so that wherever we go, I can drive us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think
Good.
Catherine would also probably try to give a ring to the New York University, and just to see if she could get in contact with Professor Anthony Cowles.
Yep. You give them
as an academic, like, oh yes, I just wanted to do an interview, blah blah blah. Like she could probably get where he's staying, or if a number to contact him by.
Definitely.
We are journalists.
You are.
Sure, yeah. You managed to get through to his office, and you can get through to his secretary. Office of Dr. Anthony Cowles, how can I help?
Oh, hello, yes. I was just wondering, we unfortunately, my husband and I missed the fantastic lecture that happened last night at the university, and I was wondering if it'd be possible to schedule an interview with the doctor, or the professor.
I'm afraid he's incredibly busy while his brief stay here in New York, and he will be leaving later tomorrow night. I don't think I can really fit you into his schedule, I'm afraid.
Oh, perhaps even just a brief ring on the phone. Maybe we can... I'm sure...
I will ask him, what name should I give?
Just gonna kind of look at Marcus, be like, yeah. Mr. Marcus Jordan.
Very well. Hold, please. A few minutes later of holding, a woman comes back on the line. Yes, how is tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m.?
Oh, tomorrow afternoon at 3 sounds fantastic. Thank you so much.
At the Grand.
At the Grand? We'll be there.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Phone hangs up. Okay. And then it's taxi to car to Mordecai Lemming's house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The nervous-looking scholar opens the door as you reach it in the evening, and Professor Mordecai Lemming appears. He's got dark circles around his eyes, and he's wearing sort of dirty, probably slightly unwashed professor's robes. He opens the door. Mr. Gray, pleasure. My lord, your companions are all here as promised. Mr. and Mrs. Jordan, Mr. Romanovich, Dr. Ernest, please come in. I'm something of a fan.
A fan of all of us?
Quite, yes, and the things that you found out in Peru, I've studied all of your all of the readings and documents which I managed to find. Fascinating stuff, honestly fascinating stuff. I consider myself a scholar, and really the work that you've all done there was some of the finest stuff that's come out of Peru in a long time, let's say.
It's most likely you know more about it than we do.
Oh, I very much doubt that's the case, Dr. Ernest. Please come in. He gets you all drinks and food, sits you in his lounge. You see, the thing with these things I've found is the witnesses to these events who saw with their own two eyes what there was to be seen can learn far more than we scholars sitting on our armchairs back at home trying to analyze what was found. So, you mentioned a book. And he seems very happy, right. Very eager to please. Africa's Dark Secrets. Yes, I had a look around, and I couldn't find the tome anywhere. Though I have a receipt. And he slides a receipt across the table for $1,000 for Africa's Dark Sects, and the receipt is to one Silas and Kwabe from Emerson Imports.
I pull out the card that has the name on the back and just hand it to Marcus.
Will, can I roll... Oh, sorry. Can I roll a psych check to see if our good friend here is genuinely interested, or if this is sort of a, there's an underlying emotion or something?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Koskoff is similarly on edge.
No, that is a failure. Shit.
He seems very eager to please, but that's what you can really get from him. He's got that sort of scholarly excitement.
I passed in my my scrutiny of him.
Yeah, I mean, from what you can tell, he seems honestly interested in you. He did know who you all were. And looking around his place, he does have a lot of artifacts and books, and he probably is who he's saying he is at the very least, and he probably did follow your expedition to Peru and what happened there.
Real quick.
He is Dr. Mordecai Lemming.
Thank you.
Apologies for
Mordecai.
suspicions. I'm leery of people who know who I am, and I do not know them. Seems to be going around these days.
Oh well, in my circles, a group of you are, well, let's not say famous, but known for those who have looked into the expedition to Peru. What writings we managed to find from Professor Larkin, we were following. These things get bandied around. It's not as though everyone knows who you are, but there's a small club, let's say, of scholars and interested folks who keep track of the latest findings and whatnot that come back from Peru, study them, buy them, collect them. It's the work of my life.
Could you provide list of people in small group, as you say?
I'm afraid that wouldn't be very gentlemanly of me. There is not a code of secrecy, but let's just say people like to keep themselves to themselves. It's nothing dark or mysterious, simply scholarly interests. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't those out there who believe in such things, but myself and my friends whom I work with work in universities and like. Your friend, Jackson Elias, was one of them. Contact.
And he is dead.
He is?
So again,
My
I
God.
ask, could you provide list?
Well, I suppose I could. You'd have to give me some time to collate names and addresses. It's not as though there is a membership card, or it's not as though it's a real club. It's just interested scholars and the like. Oh, Dr. Ernest, you must know what it's like. You have professors and the like who you meet at conventions, studies and the like every couple of years, but it's not as though you really keep in touch.
Yes.
But of course, I'll do whatever I can to help your investigation, I suppose. He looks excited for a moment. Do you think this is involved with Peru? Do you think this traces back?
We wouldn't want to say one way or another. Yet. You understand?
But there is possibility.
Yes.
But we do not know.
Would you happen to know any local members? You know, in New York, this present time.
Let me think. Professor Miriam Adright at university. She is a studied scholar, librarian and the like, often helps me track down books. Jackson Elias, your late friend, he was based here. That was really come to mind, I'm afraid.
What about an Edward Gavigan? Does that ring a bell?
Mr. Gavigan, yes. Oh, yes, of the Penhew Foundation based in London. He's not here, I'm afraid, but the Penhew Foundation are ever instrumental in tracking down, finding artifacts and books and the like. They fund expeditions, including the Carlisle expedition.
Indeed.
What about Hilton Adams?
The man in the papers. I've never met him before. I've only been hearing what's been reported in the news, I'm afraid.
What about a Mr. Hemingway?
Hemingway? What's that name ring a bell? I'm sorry, it's not that I get out very often, but I see so many names and so many books and the like. What context might I know him in?
Oh, he moved in certain circles. Did a bit of reporting, I believe. I believe he may have known Mr. Jackson Elias. Perhaps.
Maybe, you know what? I think Mr. Elias may have mentioned him once in a telephone call that we had not so long ago, perhaps only a few months back. Yes.
I don't know what that was about.
Dr. Lemmings, did you happen
remember.
Sorry,
ahead.
Did you happen to see the lecture from Professor Anthony Cowles last night, The Cult of Darkness? I thought it would be right up your alley. Did you happen to go?
Sensationalist nonsense, if you ask me, Dr. Ernest, with respect. Mr. Cowles barely considered a professor in the circles which we academics work in. He no doubt sells many tickets sensationalizing ghost stories and the undead, etc., etc. What I'm interested in is real science and real research. I'm afraid Professor Cowles is of little help in that regard.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good. I'm glad that I missed it then.
Tennessee has taken the receipt and he's turned it over to its blank side, to the back of it, and he's drawn the symbol to the best of his ability that he found on Jackson Elias's head, that's been on the head of several victims, and he puts his hand over to cover it, to sort of hide it, and he asks Mordecai, "Were you friends with Jackson then? You knew each other?"
I would say so. For my part, I don't claim to have many close friends, and Jackson Elias was certainly not one of them, but we moved in the same circles, and we respected one another's opinions and the like. Mr. Elias was a folklorist of some standing, and was always based in reality and truth. That was until after Peru, where, well, some things had changed. I don't know exactly what he saw there. He told me much about the case. That's when I first learned of the group of you. His writings are largely what I've learned of Lima and Peru and the like. And, well, what happened there was tragic. But he still was trying to find a reasonable explanation for everything that occurred.
I didn't always see eye to eye with Jackson in the short time I knew him, but I respected him. He was a man of honor and integrity, a brave man, a good man. Have you ever seen this before? And he uncovers the receipt and slides it back to Mordecai. That symbol. Is that familiar to you?
It does. It does. His face darkens somewhat when he looks at it. That there is an occult symbol, my friends. Yes. There are many cults based across Europe, Africa, and beyond who believe in strange rituals and rites. This here, I believe, is one of them, the cult of the bloody tongue, as they are known. A singularly barbaric tribe.
Do you have any reason to believe that they are a real thing, an active clan of members that might be here in New York City?
It's possible, I suppose. Certainly, it's possible. Jackson Elias has brought the same symbol to me, too, not long before his death. Yes, he was looking into the same matters, this cult. He believed, similarly to you, that they were active and very much real.
You wouldn't happen to have a piece of literature which could give us more information on this cult as a book collector?
I'm afraid that's the very book that you came here to look for, Africa's Dark Sects, would speak to their manners and formation, etc. Jackson Elias believed that Carlisle expedition had something to do with this, so he didn't say what exactly.
Sorry, but before we go on, is there anyone else in this house apart from us?
Goodness, no.
Okay.
I live here alone.
I just wanted to make sure, that's all.
It's a perfect segue, Doctor.
Yeah, Marcus is going to say, when did this book go missing? Do you remember the last time that you saw it?
The last time I saw it must have been 2 months ago after I'd read it cover to cover.
Marcus is going to start with permission, like, if you mind if I stretch my legs? He's going to walk and, like, open up the nearest door and look behind it to see and make sure there isn't anything written there. Like 3, 4. And he's going to look around the house, like in the area, because if this book just got taken, we might be at ground zero for asshole nation that could be somewhere here rhyming his way into our hearts with a knife. So
I love the paranoia. I love it. But no, you look behind the door and there is no writing that you can see anywhere.
All right, just cool chill, I guess.
Of course.
You don't like nursery rhymes, do you?
Nursery rhymes?
What's your favorite?
I've never had children, if that's what you're asking.
What's the first one that comes to mind when you think of one?
What a singularly strange question, Mr. Jordan.
Singularly strange.
Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, maybe. Very
Good,
interesting.
okay, it's fine.
Right, of course.
It's a great one, but the plague. Great, thank you.
I can't help but feel that there's something going on here, my friends. I understand if you don't trust me, you have to speak more to it, but...
you and your friends have... You see that we are a bit famous in the Peru incident, but in the expedition, did any of your friends speak of strange lettering, seemingly from a nursery rhyme found on various surfaces throughout said adventure in... And he looks over at Catherine. Peru.
Jackson Elias never mentioned it. There's nothing in his writings to speak to that, I'm afraid. Of course, symbols and writing have a great deal of power in esoteric circles and cult activities. They would believe that such things really do have power.
More than a serial killer thinks. He dare might not be a serial killer.
A serial killer?
Oh, you know, serial killers are very similar in the fact that they leave notes and places like that.
Hey, look, it appears that cults weren't enough. We need a serial killer as well.
Well, maybe it's not a serial killer and it's just a cult. I don't know if that's better or worse.
Perhaps it could be serial cult.
Serial cult. Well, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Right. Well,
it's been a very stressful 24 hours.
Yeah, of course. Of course, I understand completely. Also, if you're looking for serial killers, then look no further than Hilton Adams, if you are to believe the papers.
Oh yes, the papers. So
Just feels like Tuesday.
I'm afraid my area of expertise is not in serial killers, all alike, but cults, certainly I can help you there, yes.
Do you know anything else about this cult of the bloody tongue, then? Anything other than that would be in the book? That seems to have mysteriously disappeared.
The book is all that I knew on the matter, I'm afraid. I remember much of it. Written by an explorer, Nigel Blackwell, 1920. No one knows who Blackwell is or where he found this information, but there are only 13 copies of this book, Africa's Dark Sects, in existence. The rest were burned by the authorities, for the book is considered to be, well, let's say evil. Not that I really truly believe in such things, but you know what the authorities can be like, stopping academic research and the like. The cult are a singularly brutal group based somewhere in Africa, or at least originated from there, into sacrifice, blood, the power of organs and flesh, etc., as many of these people are.
What does this cult... I mean, cults normally worship something, do they not? What is the reason behind this cult? Who do they worship?
Something that you must understand, Dr. Ernest, is that the writings that are often found on cult activities are from explorers who have managed to escape with their lives or observe from afar. These groups of people, were they to be discovered or found, well, death could await them or worse fates indeed. Often they are spoken of as great beings, ancient spirits, gods, and the like. Whether or not these people were given a name is unknown to us. Most likely they would have a name for whatever god or spirits they worship.
Fascinating.
Yes.
It's not so different, if you think about it, from early stages of Christianity and the like. Sacrifices of animals, paganism even. Very common.
I would know.
Well,
Catholic.
I'm interested in staying the night tonight and perhaps having a look around. If you don't mind us perusing your library, maybe we'll find a clue as to where your book went. Maybe we'll even find your book. Could he, hidden behind another book?
It could be somewhere. The library is fairly extensive, so it's entirely possible. I try and keep it all categorized, but yes, feel free. I've had rooms made, and everything should be set. Perhaps we'll speak more in the morning.
Well, I appreciate your hospitality. And if anyone else, if you don't want to stay tonight, I'm happy to drive you wherever you need to go. But I think I'll be staying here tonight.
Yes, I could do with a lovely, soft, warm bed.
What's mine is yours.
Thank you. That is most generous of you.
I best see to retiring myself. It's late. He sort of stands up and heads upstairs to his own chambers.
So,
well, that's a lot of information that we have now.
Question is, where to go next?
I would rather go check out this House of Juju. Is that what he said? See if we can find this book. Absolutely. And then we've got that professor in the afternoon.
At 3, yes.
3 p.m.
Should be plenty of time.
Are you doing all right there, Doc?
I think I am in need of much rest, and the painkillers are slowly wearing off. So, I feel that I will retire to bed and hopefully greet the day somewhat more energetic than ending it.
Me too.
Just
to
say, I
Koskoff, do you
won't
have
be
any more of
doing
those?
any fights anytime soon.
If you don't
There are
mind,
plenty
just to help me sleep.
There are plenty of drugs, yes.
This might seem an odd request, but considering the day I had, would someone care to share a room with me? Strength in numbers and all that.
Well, Marcus and I are going to be sharing, and I don't think you want to be in our room.
No, sorry. I did not imply you, Mr. and Mrs.
Doctor,
Jordan.
I'll watch over you. You took care of me, I take care of you.
Thank you, Koskoff. Thank you. I will sleep much greater knowing that you are watching over me. And Lucian will wrench himself up and slowly head out the door to whatever room Dr. Lemming said that he could go to.
Mm-hmm. You'll find your own rooms and settle in for the evening.
Catherine definitely fucking booby traps the windows in her room, the doors. She is a tripwire that's connected to this bell, and if they open the window, these books are gonna fall over. It's gonna be a domino, basically like a Rube Goldberg machine. Booby trapping the windows and door to this room, closet too. Just
Marcus just sits crisscross applesauce on the bed and watches.
With a serial killer cult potentially on the loose, I'm not taking any chances. We seem to be setting up. I don't like any of this, Marcus. When we're done with, this, I think maybe we should retire. At least maybe I should retire. You can keep doing your work, but mine's a little more dangerous, I guess. I'm tired of it.
I think we just need to sleep. I think we need to rest on it before we make life decisions.
Marcus, I'm 30. I'm 30 years old now. When are you going to give me kids? Yes, I'm 30 now.
You don't seem anywhere near 30.
You're too sweet. But clock's ticking. On multiple levels. Just letting you know. Just bringing it up again. It's been a while. Let's go to bed.
So, my sweet, to recap, we've had a day where we just got out of prison and we're staying in a strange professor's house, and you're reminding me of your biological clock.
Yes. I'm real glad you're picking up on what I'm laying down.
I'm just checking to make sure that I hadn't received a head wound like the doctor. Okay.
Nope. Yep. No, this is why I'm reminding you. We need to get out of this business.
Right, but we obviously have something else we have to do. Okay, I'm assuming this is going to continue for quite some time as the argument for...
The two of you, the bickering down the end of the hallway can be heard from outside. All the way down the end of the hallway, at the last room is Dr. Mordecai Lemming's room. Inside, the camera pans in underneath the floorboards where he picks up the telephone, waits a moment with bated breath.
Yes. Oh, yes, they are. Don't worry. I'll make sure of it.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode of Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep, as we have come to yet another moment of intrigue for the party as this plot just continues to thicken, and they get themselves up into more trouble. But we don't have too much time left because it's time for us to head into our next show in just a few minutes here for Warhammer. But let's go around the cast and the crew. Did we enjoy ourselves tonight, and where can we find you guys online? Also going to open up a giveaway here in chat for a set of tabletop loot dice, so enter below. But Greg, let's start with you. How was that tonight, my friend?
Oh, it was great. I couldn't love this anymore. I really think, and as much as I loved our first go around with masks, I think you nailed it right on the head, Will, last week when you said this is like a completely different playthrough, or somebody says like a playthrough of a game where you take the opposite choices, and we're engaged in almost a very different investigative type of nature of all of this. I like it tremendously. I love being immersed into the era and the culture and the society of the 20s. It's just the best. Great job, my friend. I love playing with everybody here. I'm so glad we had Koskoff back. I'm so glad that unfortunately, with Tennessee and the doc just beat the shit. But other than that, the doc was dead. No joke. Grimjack21502 on the Twitches and the Twitters. Please go over there to see what I'm doing over on my channel, what I'm doing here on this channel. But please make your way back here next Wednesday from 1 to 4 because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my non-binary friends of all ages, this is where it's at. See you then.
Oh, yeah. And Lindy, how was that tonight?
Oh my gosh, so amazing. I look, Wednesday is like my favorite day of the week. I look forward to this game. I consider Wednesday like the start of my week. I'm like, week always gets off to a great start on Wednesdays. And it's like, it's so weird if we don't have it. And it was fantastic to have Koskoff back this week. I loved Plan Boom or hashtag Boom, Operation Boom. I was a little sad that didn't get to go through because that would have been hilarious and fantastic. And I just love everyone's RP. Like the doctor being like, no, I won't be an informant. And then Marcus Catherine like, why didn't you say yes? That's duh. You'll get beat up. and then the bickering argument at the end. I've had very similar conversations with my husband. He's like, so we were talking about this and now we're here. And I'm like, yeah. That's just how women's brains work, and it's fantastic. I can't wait to see what trouble we get into next week, and whether we make these meetings and appointments that we've booked in House of Juju, because shit's gonna go down, but at least I've booby trapped my room, so we'll wake up if someone comes in.
Great stuff. Tom, rough episode for Dr. Ernest today. How was that?
It sucked. I got my ass kicked multiple times. I almost died. It sucked. You know? Yeah, no, it sucked. That's it. You know? And I will say, I hope Marcus doesn't have to get up to use the bathroom because he's going to trigger every single trap there is in that blooming room. It's just, I hope it's got a chamber pot, you know. But no, it's great. It's great. The RP's great. Everything about it is great. I can't wait until next week where I'm on 3 HP instead of 2. Ready for action then. But yeah, come back next week and find out whether or not which one of us is getting the shit kicked out of us this time. I'll see you next week.
Great stuff. And Poirot, how was that tonight?
Oh, it is so good to be back in the fold here with my peoples, and I can't wait to see where this goes. I am ready to beat the shit out of something. I was a little sad that Operation Boom did not go through, but it will be back at some point, I'm sure. So, you know, I'm on one half of WebDM. You can check our video out. It'll be out today at some point. I'm not really sure what it's all over. We changed at the last second. So anyway, RPGN should be back this weekend. So get your clips in over to PowerScore RPG at gmail.com. If you saw something today that you liked, maybe you'll see it this weekend with the lovely Lindy up here. So yeah, I can't wait till next week so I can kill lemmings. Throw them off the cliff.
Hey, he hasn't done anything yet. Don, how was that tonight, my friend? Beat up and wounded Tennessee Gray. Had a bit of a rough day.
Oh, it was great. You know, I regained hit points throughout the session. I loved it. This is one of my favorite sessions that we've done, even though, you know, there wasn't a lot of super intense action, but I just really love these characters. Can't wait for next week. Like everyone else is saying, I'm really glad that we're back into this and things are moving forward. It means a lot to me. I love Wednesdays. You can find me tonight DMing my Dragonlance campaign on Greg's channel, May Black Roses Bloom, at 8 p.m. You can find me tomorrow DMing The Blood Plague on Lindy's channel at 2 p.m., both Eastern Standard Time. That's what I'm up to this week, and then I'll be looking forward to this again next week.
Fantastic stuff. Awesome. Well, we're going to head into our next game here, which is Warhammer, The Great Conspiracy. So stick with us here on Again Roleplay, my friends. We're seeing you then, and of course, every week here at 1 o'clock Eastern for the Masks of Nyarlathotep. We hope to see you back with us on YouTube, Twitch, wherever it is you're watching. And until next time, try not to roll too many nat ones because we want to be here laughing when you do. Good night, everybody. Bye!